Hi friends, in this video we're going to do a reaction and a poetry analysis of Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen. Now in the previous video we did Love Is All You Need by the Beatles, and I made this statement that there's something in common, a great chorus. Love Is All You Need, Hallelujah, really great memorable chorus, but the difference is that in Hallelujah there's tremendous poetry, and in Love Is All You Need the chorus is arguably better. It's more fun. It's more catchy. Love Is All You Need. You just find yourself immediately being in a good mood. Immediately, it's a fun song. Here, the chorus isn't as strong. It's still great, but it's not as fun. It's not as energetic. The song is a little bit more subdued, which for the listener, it just takes more quality in the song for the song to resonate sometimes, as opposed to the Beatles. They just have so much energy. But here we will look at how the poetry brings out the melody, and there's a 1 + 1 = 3 combination that's amazing. And this is real poetry here. We'll go through it line by line. Now, the song opens. Now, I heard there was a secret chord that David played, and it pleased the Lord. Immediately, we are transformed, whatever the word is, transposed, transformed. Thousands of years ago, King David playing for the Lord, right, God, and there was a magic chord. So much mystery. There's so much mystery already in the opening. You can count this as 1 line or 2 lines, but really it's one first sentence. Wow. And it pleased the Lord, and it was a secret chord. Secret is a funny word. It just builds mystery, right? And wow. And then the next line, oh my God. So can you imagine, like, if I tell you there's a secret chord and you're like, okay, wow, what is this secret chord that pleased God, that David, like imagine if this wasn't make-believe. Imagine if this was true and I told you about it and you like, I don't care. This is the third line. But you don't really care for music, do you? This is a relationship song about when the relationship goes stale, when you used to care about all the things the other person cared about, but now you can care less. And so imagine you come to this person who maybe you used to love, and you're like, oh, I just found perhaps the most magical thing there can ever be and ever was. And the person's like, I don't care. And all of this is done in 3 lines. All of this is done in 3 lines. This is magical Leonard Cohen. Wow. And then, like, it's hard to grasp how lightning strike this writing is. This is like a lightning bolt hitting you. Of course, this is a song, so it kind of plays through, and then you have to listen to the next words. But if you look at it this way, 3 lines, he just told the whole story of the relationship. He just told the whole, and if I just used, this is the power of poetry, because if I just used prose, like if I explained to you, hey, I am in this relationship, but it's going a little stale. So, we don't see eye to eye. That's why you don't say it that way. That's why you use metaphor, because the metaphor enriches what you're saying, and this metaphor is something he came up with, and the better the metaphor, the more enriching, and this is tremendous without being self-important about it, right? You almost don't know to pay attention to this. It's just in passing. Oh yeah, the song goes on, and here he goes like, then the first verse still goes on. It goes like this: the 4th, the 5th, the minor falls, the major. This is the chords, and then it's almost like the king composing that Hallelujah song. So these next 3 lines aren't as wildly amazing. It's kind of still telling the story about this magic chords that David played, and it's about how David was composing, and the song is really cool here because it lifts in energy. It goes like this: the 4th, the 5th, the minor falls. Sorry, I lost my voice a little bit yesterday, but I can't sing. But it has this interesting moment: the baffled king composing hallelujah, something like this. It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, and right here, the baffled king. I lost my voice composing. I lost my voice, so I can't really do this. But the energy lift. This was a wrong day to record this video because my voice really, you can hear the rasp. Anyway, I'm not here to sing. I just wanted to show how the energy lifts. On that composing, there's a special chord in there also, where all the other chords there, a little bit like regular bright chords, D, C, G. They're usually chords that the song sounds happy and uplifting, or at least not normal. But then there's a B7 chord, which is kind of gives it that accent, composing, almost like crying a little bit of that. That's part of what makes the song really cool, especially in that moment where there's an energy lift and you kind of crying that energy lift, which is super cool. And then next verse. Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof. Her beauty and the moonlight overthrew her. I think it's actually overthrew you. And then she tied you to. I mean, this is the moment where you fall in love. Imagine you see this amazing woman and you fall in love, and it's actually reciprocated. Wow. Then amazing things ensue. How do you talk about, when you start a relationship, there's this thing you can't talk about, right? Private. Not spoken about, it's a little much to write about in songs. They had a lot of sex, right? How do you write this poetically? That it doesn't say that I just said, right? That it says it in a pretty way. She ties you to the kitchen chair. She broke your throne. She cut your hair. She did everything with him. And how do you, in poetry, using that same hallelujah, talk about having an orgasm? And from your lips, she drew the hallelujah. It could be an orgasm. It could be just, oh my God, she's just amazing. Hallelujah. It could be just that, but it could be both. And it probably is both. And it's just, wow. And we're still using that word that David made that song for God, hallelujah. And then that woman drew that same hallelujah out of you. Wow. Like the poetry here is almost better when you dissect it and you think deeper in here. It's almost better like without the song, almost, arguably, because the song is really amazing too, but the poetry is so good that the song distracts from the quality of the poetry. This is super rare in songs. I have never met a song that I would say this about except this song. Even Bob Dylan's music does lift the poetry. They work together. Here, I think the music maybe distracts from the quality of the poem. This poem is just out of this world. So anyway, let's go. This is just now getting into verse 3. Well, maybe there's a God above, and for me, all I've ever learned from love was how to shoot at somebody who outdrew you. Isn't that slice of life, right? You kind of hurt the people you love. As soon as somebody loves you, maybe to protect yourself, maybe whatever, maybe you think, they love you, they're not, but you kind of devalue them for that in a way, right? People who love you too much, you devalue them. There's an element of that's common. We don't want to do that, but it just kind of sometimes happens. And then, being our own worst enemy in that moment, because could have had something amazing. Anyway, well, maybe there's a God above, but all I ever learned from love is how to shoot at somebody who outdrew you. Wow. And then there's the next 3 lines are super cool, a little different. It's not a crime you can hear at night. This really should be tonight, not tonight. It's not a crime you can hear at night. It's not some pilgrim who's seen the light. And it's a cold and it's a very broken hallelujah. Broken hallelujah. Because somebody can be weeping hallelujah. Somebody can be suffering. Like, help me. No. which is what happens when you screw up the relationship or something like that, right? You're on top of the world, then you're your worst enemy, then you're on the bottom of the world. Hallelujah. In both cases, you know, you need something from somewhere to help you. And now the next verse. Well, people, I've been here before. I know this room. I've walked this floor. You see, I used to live alone before I knew you. In some way, these lyrics are very ambiguous. It's a little hard to tell what this is about without, asking Leonard Cohen, what is this exactly about? But because sometimes they say in their interviews exactly what it's about. But here it's interesting because I know this room, I've walked this floor. It's like, you've messed up your relationships before. You've been there. Like, you're like, okay, this is not the first time I was my own worst enemy. I've been there in heartbreak. I know this room, I've walked this floor. I love that. It could be just talking about the apartment where they lived, but it could be talking about something a lot richer, like, I know the deja vu of things going so wrong. I've been here. And then again, look how cool the next three lines are. I've seen your flag on the marble arch, but love is not a victory march. No. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. In music, in a song, it sounds amazing. It's that same moment. I'm going to mess it up again because I have my sore throat. But this is cool. I've seen your flag on the marble arch, but love is not a victory march, but it's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. Messed up throat. But there's that build of energy on the painful moment of the song. Cool. Now we get into the last verse. The funny thing is sometimes the lyrics of these verses, they really change because these lyrics have undergone so many changes that sometimes there's verse 3 is the last verse. You can actually flip them around. It doesn't really matter sometimes, because I've heard them done in all reverse orders. But then there's this last verse in our case. There was a time you let me know what's really going on below, but now you never show it to me, do you? I mean, it's more of that. We've already been through this moment in this song before, where actually in the first three lines, right, in that third line, where it's like, yeah, this used to be amazing. There used to be depth. There used to be a real connection, but now you never show it to me, do you? And remember how cool it was? Remember when I moved you in? The holy dove was moving too. And every breath we drew was hallelujah. Wow. Yeah, sometimes every breath you drew is hallelujah, and then you don't have that, and then you want that. And wow, this is the end of the song. This poetry is the kind of poetry that when you're a beginner poet, you like, I wish I can write something like this. And I saw a bit of an interview where Leonard was talking to Bob Dylan, and Bob Dylan was very prolific. He would write a lot. Pa, 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 pa. New song, poem, new poem. That was his thing, that was one of his strengths. He was a big volume of work. And Leonard Cohen was opposite. He would like pour over every line, and you can really see the intricacy of the interwovenness of how he uses hallelujah. I mean, this takes like sitting there in front of your desk and suffering and being like, oh, gotta fit this word. What's the idea? He go get feedback from somebody else, another feedback from somebody else. Go back to his desk, sit up like until 2 and 3 in the mornings. Wake, take a shower, thinking about this. Go for a walk, thinking about this. And then sometime a lightning strike would happen, and he would have an interesting idea of how to make this richer. And it's just such rich writing. There's not a tremendous number of lines. So 30 lines. It's not much longer than a typical song. In fact, I think it's within the normal range. But the density There's God, there's David, there's a juxtaposition with a relationship. There's so much that I guess my hat is really off here to Leonard Cohen. And I don't have a lot more to say, but if you have additional interpretations, please post it into the comments. If you have more knowledge about this song, anything. A lot of times when I do these reactions, many times people who listen, they have a lot more interesting things to add, and I just love that. And then we engage in the comments and talk more. And of course, since we're wrapping up the reaction to this song, which is amazing, and see how different it is, how much, yes, there's a beautiful chorus, but how much the lyrics, the beautiful lyrics, make this song levels better, which is, why we're doing All You Need Is Love, which is just about all it is that chorus. There's not a tremendous amount more, but here we have that beautiful chorus plus these lyrics. It's so much more enriching experience to listen to this particular song in some sense. Of course, it's comparing apples and oranges, but I wanted to just juxtapose these songs. And since we are at the end of this reaction, I wanted to mention that, of course, on this channel, I have a lot of my own original music, which, of course, my music focuses on writing poetry and setting it to music, just like these greats did. Leonard Cohen, Bob Dylan. I do a lot of, I get a lot of inspiration from Neil Young. These great artists who are also poets is the kind of style that I also write. Of course, they're better. I'm not them. But if you like that style of music, you may also like my style of music and my music. So I'll have the links to my original music in the description of the video, in the comments, so you almost can't miss it if you want to try it. And of course, I would appreciate it if you tried it, because, well, you actually might get something for you. You might actually enjoy the music, you might enjoy my poetry. So thank you for listening to this video, watching. Thank you for listening to my music, and I'll see you in the next video.